Hello, second graders. Today, our learning target is I can reread a story and write a paragraph to recount the events and central message. Now you read it with me. I can reread a story and write a paragraph to recount the events and central message. Today, you will write a paragraph that recounts the events in the fable, The Ants and the Grasshopper. You will need the Ants and the Grasshopper text, Fables and Folktales Response Journal, page 2, and a pencil. Let's read the fable, The Ants and the Grasshopper, again. The Ants and the Grasshopper by Aesop. One bright day in late autumn, a family of ants were bustling about in the warm sunshine, drying out the grain they had stored up during the summer, when a starving grasshopper, his fiddle under his arm, came up and humbly begged for a bite to eat. "What?" cried the ants in surprise. "Haven't you stored anything away for the winter? What in the world were you doing all last summer?" "I didn't have time to store up any food," whined the grasshopper. "I was so busy making music that before I knew it, the summer was gone." The ants shrugged their shoulders in disgust. "Making music, were you?" they cried. "Very well, now dance." And they turned their backs on the grasshopper and went on with their work. Now that we've read the story, let's think about it. The setting is when and where a story takes place. The setting can help us understand the central message. Where and when does this story take place? Why is knowing the season important? If you can't remember the season that took place in this story, go back to the text and look. It is very important to know the seasons in this story. Now that you've thought about it, let's talk about it. What story elements do you need to include in a paragraph recounting this story? Use your fingers to show how many sentences to include in your recount. Before you talk about it, think about the season you just decided on. It should have been autumn. Autumn changes to winter. Why was that so important in this story? Why should you include it in your paragraph? Pause the video and talk about this now. Now that you've talked about that with a family member or a friend, using your journal, write a paragraph to recount the story. Use the checklist to make sure you include all of the steps. Remember, you should definitely include the setting and what happens to the characters in that setting. When you're finished, share it with a teacher, family member, or friend. Thank you, boys and girls.